here, who is the author and illustrator of this fabulous book. This is called The Adventures of Chee and Chee. Let's take a look at that there. Fabulous book. I read it last night. Really, really enjoyed it. I felt like a kid again. And what's neat about it is it's written about a mouse family, but it has a lot to do with David and his family. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your book?
Okay, Chee and Chee, the characters in the book are basically my wife and I. And we have twin daughters, and so this mouse couple have a set of twins, and their name is Moochie and Gucci. Okay, so, and these names go with...
just right over here. You can just look right at me. There you go.
Okay, yeah, my daughters, and so, anyway, so it really is a fable about my family that's been transplanted into mice. And I live in Sutter Creek, and these mice live along the banks of Sutter Creek.
Okay.
And so this is where all the stories come from. Basically, I read stories, my wife and I read stories to our daughters since they were little kids. We would snuggle up in bed and read. And so, which meant many, many trips to the public library. And a lot of them I didn't really like. I wanted something that would keep me interested in continuing to read them stories.
Right.
So I started writing my own stories to read to them, which is a solution to a problem. But so writing a story is one thing, but creating a book is quite something else.
It's so true, so
yeah,
true. What year was it when you started writing this particular story? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was a long time ago that I wrote the story, 91.
91, okay.
And the book was created in 2012, which meant it laid around a lot, and there were a lot of manuscripts that got passed around to members of the family and friends to read. So, and then I got motivated to do the book. Well, right now the book is being, in other words, we can order them from the publisher, but it's a vanity thing, and you pay for the book.
People want to order the book, just since we're on that subject. How would they order the book?
Okay, you would call, you call me, my wife, we live in Sutter Creek. Our phone number is 267-1981.
Okay.
And $25, and we'll get it to you.
Okay, here we go.
And the other thing is that if anybody wants to check it out, go to the public library in Jackson, or I own, because we've gifted copies of this to the public libraries.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and actually we're in the process now of getting them into school libraries. So it's a process. It's one thing to write a story, it's quite something else to get it made into a book, and then the other thing is to get it out into
circulation, into the world.
Yeah, well, that's what we're doing here.
I find it just so interesting, David, because when my daughter was small, my husband would make up a story every night. You know, I would read to her, but then when it was his turn, then he would tell her a story. Sometimes he told the same story over and over, but a lot of times, you know, he could just like think on the fly and think of something kind of unusual and make it really exciting. And she's just, you know, sitting there listening to her daddy, and it was like the most special times. And that creativity, you know, sparked her mind a lot too. She's a really great creative writer as well. And every single night that I can remember, we read to her, or he told her a story. It's so important, I think, for children to spend that one-on-one time with their parents, but also just expand their mind and, you know, just enrich their reading skills. It's really just, it's
You're
fabulous.
preaching to the choir.
I know
This is my take on it as well.
Yeah.
If you really want to do your kid or your grandkid a favor, read to them at a very quiet time of the day, evening, whatever. And they'll probably get very engrossed with what you're doing, because there's the book, and then there's the family member reading the story, and so they get engrossed. And of course, their mind needs, you know, feed.
They need to use their imagination to kind of see in their mind what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, because see, this for a long time was not illustrated; it was just the manuscript, and people have read it to their kids, and they visualize the little mice doing their thing.
And, you know, I hate to say it, but I love picture books. I do a lot of reading, a lot of reading. And my daughter, too, I remember one year we went on vacation, and I read like 1,500 pages. She read like 1,000 pages in a week. And we were still on vacation. We're still having fun, too. So I love to read. But some of the illustrations in here are just adorable. And take a look at this one here. This is when you're talking about the mouse family and them finding some raisins out in the field, and then they bring them into the house. They get ants, and then they removed the raisins from the house to make the ants go away. And this is just like, it popped into my head as soon as I saw this. I thought, oh, perfect illustration. How cute is that? And so tell us what else happens in the book too.
What else happens in the book? Gee, let me just
because I really enjoyed it. I loved that part. That was pretty exciting. In the beginning of the book, it talks about how Machi and Pachi, Machi's pregnant, ready to have her babies, and they decide to relocate because where they were at was not safe. There's too many kitties, too many cats. And then it goes on to talk about how they establish their home inside the wall of a cottage and make friends with the cat, right?
Yeah, there's a cat through the wall on the other side. We were talking about this, that animals very frequently make pets of other animals that aren't their species. I was talking to Laura about this because she has some ponies, and they've adopted a chicken that lives with them and eats their grain and is their companion.
Right.
So anyway, this is one of the things, is that how these mice are going to relate to a cat. Well, they don't see the cat because the cat name is Cat in the Crack, because there's a crack in the wall. And the cat is very happy and pleased to have them there because she's raised all of her litters and she's lonely. And this is one of the things that causes people to have pets.
Right over here.
Yeah.
And so that's that. They make a friendship. They have, you know, this relationship, and then the mouse gets into a little bit of trouble along the way, and then the cat ends up rescuing.
Yes. Machi gets caught by a little 5-year-old boy in a butterfly net. And the kid brings the mouse into the house. And of course the cat sees that it's Machi. And she's in a predicament.
Right.
So what they do, the idea was that the kid was going to shake it out of the net so that the family could see the cat eat it. But the cat doesn't. The cat picks it up by the neck the way she picked up her kittens when they were little, and went to the door. And they said, oh, this is wonderful. She doesn't want to make a mess in the house.
Right.
So as soon as she gets out, she goes around to where the mouse hole is and drops Machi. But then she runs out into the field and pretends
To chomp up this little
and of course,
mouse.
The 5-year-old wants to see this, and then she attacks him.
And I love that part. That was enlightening because he's a little troublemaker, it sounds like, right?
Right. And his name is All Boy.
All Boy,
Yeah,
yes.
and he does these all boy things.
Wonderful. Well, I want to just thank you so much, David, for coming on the show today. We're going to just cut over to a quick break, and then we're going to roam with Cam. So stay with us, please, and we'll be